What were my top 10 takeaways from the Bassmaster Classic, as in negatives? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Steve Chapman. I have covered the Classic for I don't even know how many years. I love the Classic. I think the Classic is the best tournament of the year. But it seems that we've stepped into a new realm of what fishing and the Classic is. And these are the top 10 things that I've seen not only online, but my own views on what went wrong here at the Classic. And these are in order. At number 10, Chris Zaldain not even catching 10 fish, but not making the top 25. I recently watched one of his newest Zaldangerous podcast with Kyle Patrick, and how he talked about the first two tournaments in Florida for the Elite Series. He didn't have his mind in at all. He just didn't care. It was throwing money out the window. That he was completely tunnel focused on winning the Fort Worth, Texas Bassmaster Classic. I can say from here on out, I would never put money on Chris for any event in Texas. I know it's his home lake and his home pond, and he knows it very well. But for some unknown reason, something happens when he gets in Texas and he doesn't do well. And Chris is one of the best anglers out there. He is fantastic. But he's not someone I would pick ever again to win the Classic in Texas. At number 9, many people believe that there's bigger names at the Expo this year than that are fishing the Classic. Now, that's kind of hard to put into words. Some of the Major League Fishing guys are working the Classic Expo. And the anglers that are in the Classic just aren't as... There's a lot of newer names. They're not established as a brand. Here we have Easton Fothergill, who's probably going to win. And he isn't really well known because this is his first year in the Classic. He came from the Opens. And then all the rookies from last year that came in. So while not a really big thing, it kind of is a big thing. And maybe it's something Bass needs to work on a little bit better to showcase the anglers and where and who they are. But that's my number 9. At number 8, no double-digit fish were caught. Everything's bigger in Texas, not the bass in this one instance. I should say that's a joke. The bass in Texas they're the biggest in the country. That's the truth. This just didn't turn out the way it should have for big bass because they didn't move in yet. They kind of needed a week more. But no double digits was my 8th takeaway. At number 7, while I love him and respect him, Peter Miller isn't very good on Bass Live. Peter is a saltwater angler, television show host. But he comes off a little corny sometimes when he's dealing with Zona and Tommy. And I'd rather listen to Mark Zona just talk for hours. I could fall asleep to him. Put him as AEM DSR or whatever that is. I think Zona's amazing. But I think adding him to the mix of the live chat, I just don't know if it works. Next, who would have thought forward-facing sonar would have played such a big part in this year's Classic? If you would have told me that beforehand, I would have told you were crazy because of the wind. But as the tournament went on, forward-facing sonar anglers dominated. You had anglers like Lee Livesey, who still did great and didn't put on or didn't use forward-facing sonar, and he probably will finish in the top 10. But those top 2 or 3 guys used the technology. And that's something that needs to be looked into seriously by Bass. I don't know if viewership numbers are going to be up. I know they'll tell us they were up. I don't know if they'll be up because anglers and fans are sick of watching people stare down at screens. It's horrible to say that because they're too distracted to look at the screen and fish and aim where they're targeting that fish than to be able to talk. And so it doesn't have the interaction that anglers and fans want out there. We want to learn from them. We want to know how they're fishing. When they're staring down at a screen, it seems like they're too busy staring at a screen, and that's it. And many fans and anglers feel like the coverage has shifted away from showcasing an angler's skills and their natural elements and the natural experiences that they've learned over the years to anglers just focusing heavily on technology, and Bass needs to look into it. Next, the coverage was boring. It's hard to say that. There are times when it's exciting when they have people on, but it seemed like instead of watching fishing, we were watching the view for fishing, for bass fishing. We were having guests come in. And instead of focusing on the fishing and what was going on, we were focusing on who we could get onto the screen and talk to and talk with, instead of watching the fishing. There was not enough fish watching or bass fishing watching. That sounds weird. But there wasn't enough watching. There was too much commentary. It was overwhelming, and it was boring because of it. Most fans want to watch and learn the anglers catch fish. This did not happen this weekend. Next, the weigh-ins sucked. Not anything that's going on. They actually had the weigh-ins with Mercer and the weigh-ins with two other guys. Why would you have two things competing against each other doing the same thing? Make the weigh-ins the priority. Make them much faster. 3 hours for a weigh-in for 56 anglers is bullshit. Nobody wants to watch 3 hours of weigh-ins. It should be an hour and a half at max. You didn't have the fans show up because they're sick and tired of watching 3 hours of it. It needs to be dwindled down, made faster, done differently. We're in a time where anglers and fans want the experience much faster. The TikTok age, the YouTube Shorts age. And we have gone back milestones to where all we're worried about is giving every angler as much time as they want on that stage. Zip their asses through there. Stop procrastinating and making it slow. Get it done. Because me as a fan, I'd rather just look at Bass Track and say, oh, this person won for the day and be done with it. But the weigh-ins are way too long. They're just way too long. Next, my God, can we have more commercials? I figured out in 1 hour that we had, for every 9 minutes of fishing, or probably 2 minutes of fishing, and 7 minutes of commentary, talking over everybody and not hearing the anglers at all, then we had 3 to 4 plus minutes of commercials every 9 minutes. So for every 9 minutes, we had 4 minutes plus of commercials in general. That is horseshit. I don't know who comes up with that. I don't know who needs that amount of time to sell stuff. I don't know if they don't have enough sponsors, so they say, we're going to give you 20 minutes of commercials for every hour that we do. The commercials are astronomically long. We don't want the commercials. I know you have to have them. Put them on the bottom. Also, put the bottom scrolling bottom third, have all the anglers. Stop doing only the top 10. I know you want us to go from the website, because that's where I'm watching it, onto another page to get that click. But to be quite honest, that is another thing that Bass sucks at. I don't know who makes the decisions for this telecast or this broadcast, but you need to learn what anglers want. Having the top 10 on the bottom third is shit. And yes, I'm getting worked up. And I don't know what number I'm on. That was one of my top 10s. And lastly, the tournament was over on Saturday. I know someone could have made a drastic catch up to win. They could have done it. It wasn't going to happen. Those areas in that lake, Fothergill won. And that drama hurts us while watching fishing. But Fothergill, everyone knew Fothergill would win. Now, I'm not sure if I raised 10 because I have a whole list in front of me and I have no idea what I did say and what I didn't say. So I'm just going to cut it off there. But what did you dislike about this year's Classic? Comment below and tell me what you think. Thanks for all the new members and subscribers, all the people who are interactive on the channel. You guys are absolutely rock stars, and I love you. But if you're not a subscriber, you should be. It's quick, easy, and all you gotta do is hit that button, and you make my day. So please do it. Friday nights we go live, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're gonna talk fishing. Probably talk fishing. We'll talk about the Classic a lot this week. We have Cole Breeden from the MLF this week to talk fishing. We'll talk to him, we'll talk about Classic, we'll talk about a bunch of stuff. So if you're free, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, come over, spend some time, meet some new people, and have some fun. Thanks again for hitting that like and subscribe. Make sure you take a kid fishing, tight lines, cheers, and get your fish on.